Okay, so why do I feel that we are why do I feel that we are near to Christ's soon return? There have been many instances of people believing that Christ is soon to return or would have returned. And so he did not return, obviously. And so after that point, any sort of belief that Christ was soon to return is shrugged off. People are, he comes when he comes. We'll just hopefully be prepared when he comes, but we're not worrying about whether he comes or not. Well, the reason why I believe that Christ is soon to return is because one thing, and that one thing is the church has begun to take the reins of the state. This is one of the key milestones to let us know that Christ is very near. This is not a time-based analysis, but it's a milestone. And it's unlike the other milestones that are just as legitimate, which are, the weather is getting more and more crazier. Catastrophes are getting more intense and more frequent. Men are becoming men and women. The world is becoming more cold and loveless. All of these are signs. And as we progress to closer and closer to his return, these things will be more and more intensified. We know this. But this particular milestone, this particular thing, is more of a off and on sort of thing. It's not like a increase in frequency, although it is to some extent, but it's an on or off sort of situation. Up until this point, we have been, or the church, they have been meddling in state governments, pushing their agenda, particularly in red states. And they've made some advancements. But now, with this new administration, that is the newest Trump administration, the second Trump administration, which will begin in January, with this new administration and the alignments that he has with the religious right, I see that now this move by evangelicals, Christian nationalists, the right, the Christian right, is poised to make huge changes and influence the government in ways that it could not. I mean, the federal government, that is, not just state governments, federal governments, in a way that it could not up until this point. Trump is, in many ways, a puppet. He's a puppet, like Pilate was a puppet to Israel, to the Pharisees, to the Sadducees, who used that power, the state power through Pilate, to crucify Christ. Trump is he's a puppet in a sense. He's an arrogant, pride-filled, self-centered puppet who cares only about himself, cares only about his advancement, and he sees that, he understands that this group of constituents, the religious right, brought him to the table, and he sees that he can ride them and they him to their both mutual advantage. So he says, hey, look, I will use them. He thinks he's just using them, but he's a tool in their hands to push for their agenda. And he's okay with that because he has power also to a certain extent. So this is the big change that I see. And this is the change that I believe is setting up for the end game, the final moves or the final scenes in Earth's history.